You need to stop all this.
But you just pointed to all of me.
Yes, that's it. Stop being all of you.
Oh.
Welcome, conscious beings. Today we're going to be talking about doubling down on your dominant function. And the way that this might manifest, if they are introverted intuition as their dominant function, they're going to be living in the future. They're going to be lining everything up so that everything falls into place in the present. And whenever they are met with new information, something they didn't plan for, they get very stressed. They did all of this planning, making sure everything was supposed to line up a certain way. And so when they have to deal with something in the present, they get very annoyed, very flustered, right? They're in their inferior. So what they may believe is that, you know what, this went wrong. So what I need to do is plan even more. I need to really think things through before I ever get started so that I don't run into having to deal with new information. And so they're doubling down on their dominant cognitive function and not really learning how to deal with that inferior, with extroverted sensing. And I want to give you an example of a person I was talking to who had this idea and said, I am working on my inferior function. And I said, wow, that's really great. That's what this is all about, is learning what that is and going and doing that inferior. So I said, I'm really curious, what's your type? And they said, I'm an ISTP. And I said, well, that's great. How are you working on your inferior extroverted feeling? What would be an example of how you do that in the real world? Because I find that really interesting. And they said, I do audio for different events, music events, weddings, other things. And they said, I used to get really annoyed with people. I used to get really upset and angry. And I've started to work on that. And people don't understand about these events is that I have to deal with the setup. I have to deal with different things that show up and I have to figure them out. And I only have a certain amount of time to get this set up for the venue. So I'm already under pressure and I don't need these people kind of judging me. I get it. I'm working on it. So what I've started to do now is I go and I address those people. And he said, well, what I do is I go over there and I explain to them what I'm doing. I just kind of take a deep breath and I say, this is what's going on. I have these things that are not working. I am working to fix them. This is the steps I have to take. And so I need to go back and get that done. And he walks away and he's like, whoo, I did it. I addressed the problems that they're having and mission accomplished. And so I thought about it for a moment and I said, I guess I missed the part where you did the FE. And he said, what do you mean? I went and I talked to them. I went and dealt with the people. So that's my FE. And I said, again, that's amazing that you're aware of it, that you understand your type and you're going and you're trying to do those difficult things. So that is commendable. I said, but what I didn't hear you addressing the emotional information of, and that's what FE is, the emotional information of the others outside of yourself. I said, so you went over there, but what I heard the way you explained it is that you gave them a bunch of facts. This is what happened, here's a fact. This is what I'm doing, here's a fact. This is what has to be done. This is how much time I have left. And so in a way, you kind of doubled down on your first function. It's kind of a cheat code for thinking that we're doing our inferior, but we're actually doubling down on our main cognitive function and thinking we can, if we do that, we can prevent having to do our inferior, which is the whole problem. that's what's causing our problems. And a lot of us do that. We mistake that we've done our inferior, and whenever things continue to go wrong, we feel like, what's the point of all of this anyway? And so to that person, I was saying, dealing with the emotional information of others, the way that you might do that and make sure that you're actually dealing in that kind of information is to use emotional language. And I know for an ISTP, that sounds like death. Like, oh my, and right, because that sounds terrible. And so he might have gone over there and addressed their emotional state. Hey, hello, I just want to say, I noticed you all over here, maybe feeling a little bit anxious. And I just wanted to make sure that you understood there is nothing to worry about. This kind of stuff happens all the time. I know this is a really big day, an important day. You all must be so excited for it. And I just want to let you know that you're in good hands. We're going to get this figured out. Your event's going to start on time, and I'm going to get back to it. It was great meeting you all, and I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful event. And I know that would feel very foreign to the ISTP to have that kind of emotional conversation, but that's the difference is going, this is going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be strange, I don't know if I like it, it feels difficult. And that's usually how you know that you are doing your inferior, when you're like, this feels foreign, I don't like this, I don't want to do it, it scares me even. That's how you know that you're doing your inferior function.